This is my final segment with Ozzie, and it's always bittersweet for me when such interesting conversations come to an end. In this segment, we cover the importance of daily routines, what Ozzie wants other dealers to know about him. And I have a run at getting Ozzie to talk about something he doesn't want to talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, Ozzie Giglio. Now, Ozzie, you are the CEO and dealer principal of the Windy City Motorcycle Company. You've got 15 stores. You sell approximately 5,500 motorcycles a year. You teach roughly 2,200 people a year to safely ride. You have around 400 employees. You do about $150 million a year. Your wife, Jill, is a dealer principal in the company as well. You have two small children who are not yet even 4 years old. Please tell me, what the heck is your average day like?
There is no average day. That's the beauty of it, frankly. I mean, typically I get up around 6. I go for a 3 to 5 mile run. I'm back at my desk at 7:30 or so. The kids are getting up at that point, and then it's all hell breaks loose after that. Um, so we centralized our offices in Rosemont, which is perfect because our senior staff now all offices out of there, and it's relatively close to my home. Even throughout the pandemic, I think we all made an effort to be in there 3 to 4 days a week. And now we're there daily. So I typically like to go to the office just because you get a lot of stuff done around the water cooler, so to speak.
Yeah.
But try to balance being a parent of very young children. So I try to spend some time with them at least in the morning. And then at night too, when I get home, I try to get home before they go to bed so that at least we can spend some time together and I can play with them and interact with them. And and as they start to get older, I think it's more important that they kind of have that interaction with me. So it's dealing with. I'm blessed to have a senior staff of people. Mike Shedevy, our president, Matt Sheehan, our head of sales. He's our senior vice president for sales, and Mark Koziel, our CFO. I mean, frankly, they manage the day-to-day operations of the business. And I'm really here more for guidance, strategic thought, interactions with the motor company and our banks. And so they really, they have the hard job, but over the last 18 months that they have really done tremendous things. And so we're blessed. And so my days are more predictable than they were maybe 2 years ago, but less predictable than they were 5 years ago.
That's fantastic. All right. So, would you then say the biggest challenge about being a dad and a dealer is time, or is it something else?
Yeah, I think it's not just time. It's sort of division of emotional um, uh, energy. There's a lot of emotional energy that goes into being the CEO of a company like this. This is a very passionate industry, and I still handle questions from customers. I love talking to customers because that's really, that is the sum and substance of everything. And so there's just a lot of emotion in the business. And of course, when you have 3.5-year-olds, there's a lot of emotion in 3.5-year-olds.
Yeah.
So the emotional energy, I think, is, in addition to time, is probably the biggest challenge that you have, because every day there's just so much emotion going on that you've got to deal with, just internally in the organization, and then obviously at home. So because kids take a lot of emotional energy, I think they do.
Yeah.
Uh,
So how do you keep your emotional battery charged? Is it the running?
I think it's running and exercising. If I am, um, I am very aware of the days that for whatever reason, I can't get something done. But because the power of that is incredible, just the 40 minutes or so that you're just, you sort of exhaust your body, or hour, depending on how far I go. uh, that makes a big difference. I think that is the recharge in an odd sort of way that I need every day. And when I miss that, I tend to not be as good as I possibly could be. So
Yeah.
I make sure that is part of my, that is institutional in me, and my wife knows that, and my kids know that now, and it's a good part of what we do. So they
Excellent.
support it. They're
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, I'm exactly the same way. Ozzy, what do you want other dealers to know about you?
Well, um, I don't know. I mean, I started out in this business. I think it's just that I'm in this business because I love it and because I'm a rider, and I continue to love it and be a rider. And I think that, um, I think other dealers should know that my passion is still about the brand and about riding and about being a part of the extended community. That's the biggest thing to me. I mean, the business is one thing, but you have to. I believe that you can't be good at this business unless you have a real passion for
Yeah.
it. If you don't love this, if you don't have a real passion for it, then you could be good at it, but I don't think you could be really good at it.
Not for long.
Not for long. Yeah.
Ozzy, you could have sold out, packed up, retired a long time ago. What's still
Yeah.
driving you?
Well, yeah, I mean, I got a lot of gas in the tank left, Mark. Uh, you know, I love this business, and I enjoy it. And I tell this to people all the time. I mean, I don't feel like, except for maybe about 2 months after COVID started, I don't feel like I go to work every day.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, this is who I am and what I do.
Yeah.
And so if I traded that, I'm not really sure what the hell I would do.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that someday that won't come. It just means that right now, that's, sort of I don't have the vision of an exit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, I mean, I like golf, and I noticed this, I like golf a whole lot more when I have to fit it in than when it's just, I could golf anytime.
Yeah.
Um, I enjoy riding my motorcycle, but I can do that in the context of my business. And, for me, I always joke, it's like I'm riding the Sturgis. It's part of my job. I mean, who can work in an environment like
Yeah.
this?
Right. I mean, come on. This is the Harley Davidson business. It's not like a real job.
As I tell people, we're not launching rockets.
Right.
We're not curing cancer. I mean, I have fun every day, and so why the hell would I want to not have fun? So I mean, I think, and I'll tell you, it's like I'm surrounded by great people,
Yeah.
and that's the other piece of it. It's like I love working with the people that I work with every day, and that's the other piece that just makes it so enjoyable. So I mean, it's been a fundamental part of my life for a long time, and I'm sure a time will come, but it's not right now. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Excellent. All right. If I may
Yeah.
shift gears just slightly and talk about another perhaps fundamental part of your life. For a long time in your email signature, you would quote Isaiah, who's considered the greatest Old Testament prophet, quoted some 50 times in the New Testament. And his key verse is Isaiah chapter 6, verse 8. Also, I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?" Then said I, "Here am I. Send me." Why does that chapter and
Yeah.
verse of Isaiah resonate with you so much?
Yeah. Well, I've spent a lot of years, in the service of our country. And I think that there is probably very few other things that you could do in your lifetime to provide a rewarding experience. And this is a saying that developed long ago in the military, and so it's kind of the volunteers code, right? So, and I believe in it deeply because in the military and even in life, there are always these times when people have the opportunity to do things and they think, well, someone else will do it. And that's why I think it's so important to make sure that, you need to look at it from this perspective. Why not me? Why shouldn't I be doing this? I'm going to step up and step forward, and I'm gonna advance myself for the greater good. And it doesn't necessarily just mean in the military environment, but in the business environment too.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to make sacrifices every day, and I think this is one of those things that is my ethos, and that is, you need to be thinking about yourself as a tool for the greater good before anything else. And so I think that's just, fundamentally, I think it's self-sacrifice, frankly.
Yeah.
And I think that, I think great leaders and great people need to have folks who are willing to self-sacrifice for the greater good. And so that has always stuck with me.
We need more hand raisers.
Yeah, we need more hand raisers.
Now you've talked about this just peripherally here. You've served in our country's military for over 30 years. Multiple tours in Iraq, Afghanistan, other locations in the Middle East and around the world. May I ask you a question about your military service? And no is an appropriate response.
Probably no. I served. I retired in September, actually. I think that I appreciate when people appreciate it, but I think that's as far as I'm concerned, that I did my job, as did many others. So
fair enough. Ozzie, if you were to give 2 or 3 pieces of advice to the almost 10,000 U.S. power sports retailers out there, what 2 or 3 pieces of advice would you give them?
Yeah. We're in a great business today, and I think that people, I think our job is to create experiences and to provide a fun environment for people who come into our shops, because that's what we do. We are in a fun business, and our job is to help people have fun. I think that's the first thing. I think it's the second thing is, don't get lost in the minutia of this business. Think about this broadly, and again, go back to what we all are supposed to deliver, and that is the experience of being in the power sports business. So, whether it's riding in a 4x4, riding a motorcycle, it's about the experience of what we're doing. And I think, it's incumbent on all of us to grow our business, to identify for the greater public how much fun it is to ride motorcycles, ride 4x4s, be outside, do things in connection with, even with little kids. And so I think the one thing that I would ask every dealer in this country to do is to emphasize the fun it is to be outside and to operate these vehicles, because we need to grow our sport, because our sport is fun. And I think people will enjoy it if they just experience it.
Excellent. Words of wisdom. We need to spread the good news.
Spread the good news. I like that.
Spread the good news. Ozzie, thank you so much for spending time with me today. I have enjoyed our conversation thoroughly.
Thanks, Mark. Mosaic. I got it.
Mosaic. And please say hello to Jill and pat the kids on the head for us.
I will. Thank you, buddy.
I hope you've enjoyed my conversations with Ozzie. I don't know about you, but I came away from these talks energized, informed, and quite frankly inspired. My hope is that after watching these talks in the future, when duty calls, in whatever form that happens to take, maybe, just maybe, we'll all think about Ozzie, raise our hands, and do our part. For now, let's do our part and go sell something, will ya?